Yeah, there are times that things don't usually happen the way we expect. Maybe in marriages, things don't work out, and life has to continue anyways, right?
Yes.
And when that happens, they say when two elephants fight the grass, are the ones usually that suffer more. So, when things don't happen well, or maybe relationships break, the children, the product of that relationship, how do they get supported throughout their life? So in this discussion, we're going to be looking at that. And let's watch.
For parents, I'll advise, even if you guys are separating, like, I do not know how the wives do it, but I think they should have a plan. Like, maybe someone is going to have custody of this child, someone is going to be in charge of his school fees, his clothing, accommodation, because you two are not just going to be separate and be separated and forget you brought a child into this world. Who do you expect to cater for this child? Who do you expect to meet the needs of this child? And when you see children on the street ending up joining occultic groups and stuff, you blame the child that, oh, it's his fault, but you forget that someone brought him into this world and left him all alone there. So I believe that they should have, I think, a plan. They should just sit down and talk that, oh, even if we are not together, I'm going to be settling this child's school fees. I'm going to be sending allowance to you to cater for this child. So that's just my own perspective. I think.
So I think he has raised, a couple of questions, which I think are very valid and very, very important because, in his world, he said, well, the parents must have brought this child into the world.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the relationship didn't work out does not mean that this child should be left alone. So I think these are and we've seen a lot of situations where people's relationship break, but then they look after the children and the children end up being very successful.
Mm-hmm.
We have also seen cases where the children are so much affected. So the discussion is what are the different aspects and what can the parents do in this kind of situation?
Yeah, if we look at the environment we are, which is Western world, we are in Canada. When we compare this with what is going on in back home, we will see that we have more support when it comes to separation, divorce. The couples, they have support of the government to know and make them to be sure that these children are not under any suffering. So, and it goes by, like, for instance, I got separated here, but because of my culture and because of what I believe, I did not go through any process of child benefits or asking. But ordinarily, what is supposed to have been done is for me to notify the government, and in the process of divorce or separation, at least certain percentage of income of the husband needs to be shared in support of the wife or whoever is in the custody of those kids. But I did not go through that. But that has been there, which is supposed to be. But no matter what, we brought these children to this world. Whether governments are there or not, we brought these children. So when, just like the boy said, when things happens, we know where it's going to end. We know that we are going to part ways. So definitely we need to put these children at the center and say, okay, let's sit down. You don't like me anymore. You don't want me anymore. But collectively we brought these children. How are we going to raise these children together? But oftentimes doesn't happen because the hatred, the hatred is there. So you don't want to sit down with your enemy or things like that. You don't want to have any discussion. But we need to put our problem aside and be able to focus on these children and say, okay, we talk about their upbringing, we talk about their education. Who is going to be responsible? Are you ready to take part? And if not, government is there to settle the issues for us. But if the woman knows, and because of the age, according to the Saskatchewan, Canada law, so the child ordinarily supposed to be under child support and under the mother, except in a situation whereby she's not capable of raising those kids. And the parents are responsible for the upbringing of these children until the age of 16. Under law, on the age of 16, you are responsible to cater for these children. If they are not ready, the government can enforce the man or the woman for them to be able to bring these children together. But we need to come together and say, the problem has happened, let's push the problem aside. Let's concentrate on these children. Just he has said a valid point. He mentioned something. He said, and when you see these children that they join occults, you will be saying that is a bad child. Why was that child not? On this table, there was a time that we raised a case of a boy that is just like one of my children back home, and I asked him that what is he doing? I heard about the boy that they killed. When the other colleagues want to force him to join the occult group, and he insisted that he doesn't want to join, and they killed the boy. So I now called my child. I said, because he's in the university, I called him. I said, I hope the occultic group, they are not troubling you. And he told me that, occultic group is everywhere. That in fact they visited him, and what he told them was that he is ready to join them, provided they are able to give him food in the morning. His meal in the morning, afternoon, the 3 square meal. Except, I said, why? What about your parents? He said, where are they? You understand? So definitely you will see a child like that. If care is not taken, if he doesn't have anybody, any support, he will eventually, he said when they provide these 3 meals for him, and they give him 25,000 naira. 25,000 naira in Canadian,
$50.
it's just like $50. You understand? $50 in a month. So just because of $50 in a month, a child wants to mortgage his life.
Yeah, and you see, the point is you can't blame the child because the child was just vulnerable.
Yeah.
We're not saying the decision is right, but we are just affirming that when things like this happen, it makes the child vulnerable and they can join, bad gangs and all of that. So you had mentioned the difference between Nigeria, maybe Western countries, and could you tell us, in the Western climate,
Yes.
some of governments have kind of oversight over these things.
Yes.
But in many other places, nobody cares.
Yes.
So could you give us perspective about, in those other places when there is no oversight,
Yes.
how can the children, what options do the children have, and how can they survive?
Well, I think, thank you, Dr. Widori. I think, this child, this teenager definitely have valid point. And unfortunately, when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. In two perspectives, before I come to answer your questions, I see this particular concern from two angles. When we are talking about a healthy, so there are times that when abuse, let me go straight to it. When there's abuse or there was abuse in the home prior to separation, divorce, the children were already suffering. And for abuse to be in a home, one or both partners are unhealthy. So, and we cannot ask someone who is unhealthy to sit down in an amicable manner to discuss with this other spouse to say, okay, we are all going our ways, we are both going our ways, okay, how do we fend for these children? It will not happen. So I look at healthy, and there are also instances where maybe it was not abuse, not as a result of abuse. For whatever reason, the relationship is not working. Now you have a father who is responsible. He may be a responsible father, but maybe not like a good husband, for example. It's possible. Maybe because of his own baggage and everything. He loves his children, but maybe the wife, he just, for whatever reason, I can't cite an example right now, might not be able to. Things are not working between the mother and the father, the husband and the wife, but it's not impacting on the children as such. In that instance, it's easy to sit down. I have seen, actually my daughter graduated high school not quite too long, and I watched one of her friends, the parents, they're divorced. Everybody, I think, I don't know what led to that, what they're called, they're always. But very interesting that on that graduation banquet, I mean, even the entire event, the father, the child's father, came in for the event. Both the banquets and the church and the graduation ceremony, the banquet was after, and I watched the ex-wife, ex-husband, the child, and they were good. I mean, I'm not saying they are loving, they cannot love it, and everybody has already gone their own ways, they move forward. But for the sake of that child, and it's not just that instance, it's that, over time, they were able to take care of their child. They put their differences aside, and we have a commonality. We have a child that we brought into this world, and they're able to raise that child. So the impact is so minimal. I wouldn't say there is no impact, but the impact is very minimal. And at least from an outsider point of view, I guess, I feel that the child is doing well. However, you can tell that this relationship did not work, but maybe they can still talk, with civility, some level of civility, issues that pertain to our child will talk, and we may not be a romantic relationship with ourselves, but we are still the parents of this child. So that is a good one that I have just witnessed not quite too long. And it is doable. We see it among, the whites, like the Caucasians here, they do it. They are still friends with themselves, even though they were once married and they are no longer doing it, they are still friends, they have children, they are taking care of that. But where there was abuse and hostility and resentment and sabotaging and all of these negative things, the parent cannot sit down.
So even have a conversation, decent conversation. As we are talking, it reminded me of a story I read, which became a viral, sensational. A man and a woman separated or divorced or whatever, and then the woman, they had a child, a girl, I think, and they both moved on. But when the girl was going to get married, the girl had his stepdad and the dad to walk into the area, and I think it's the father that asked for the stepdad to join him. And why did he say that? He said, even though he wasn't with his wife, things happen, but I love the way you love my daughter.
My daughter.
Exactly. The way you cared for my daughter. You said, I love her. I said, look, if I'm walking into the area, you have to join me. And, the man was like, no. I said, no. And it became a sensational because we don't, I mean, sometimes people do fight to finish. Oh, so because things didn't work, so the children that came out of the relationship, you don't interact with them.
You abandon them. So many times what we hear, and because I'm fully divorced, I went all the way, so, and I'm happy, in my case, we realize that, because of the hostility, because of the bitterness and resentment, and how it's a fight to finish, you often wonder, was there ever love in this? Was there ever? Because at the end of the day, what I heard from another friend who was trying to intervene back then, in the early stage of the separation and all of that was, oh well, he said, my ex said, when the children grow up, they will get to know their father. And that is a saying that I used to hear when I was, remember we all hear it,
Yes.
What a ridiculous statement. So there are many in this 21st century, many fathers that they do not, saying that you have forgotten that we are not in that age of the children have no say. Now the children are the ones talking. Children can talk. They have emotions. They express themselves, especially in this century that we are. They do express themselves. And the fact that you are missing out hugely. Because one way or the other, some of these children, unfortunately, they end up on the street, they end up on drugs, they do things looking for father figure all over the place. But guess what? Some of these children are going to thrive in spite of what was done, the abandonment. But what will they remember you for? This woman that you are dumping these children on, eventually they will make it. Some may not make it, but many will make it. But what will you say was your impact on this child? Even if in your old age they are taking care of you, the guilty conscience, will it let you? Because we are living all these responsibilities, especially for those of us that are, whether you're in Nigeria or you're in diaspora. Yes, we have laws in this country, Canada. And like I said, I went all the way through. So I have the full custody. Also, they said joint custody, but my ex is not even in the same province that I am. And many years now, he hasn't even contracted the children. So there is no joint custody. I am solely responsible for these children. Child custody was a passion. You can call your children at this point in time. We can do this. None of that is being done. Because the court cannot enforce that.
So is the system not working?
So oh my goodness, when we're talking about these people that I know, they do everything to sabotage. And what I mean by sabotaging, they are doing everything to demean, even the judiciary system cannot pin them down. Because they are sneaky, they are shady, they are liars, they are all of these things, many things encompassed. So the system, it doesn't mean that because the court says, okay, you have 50-50 custody, or you have 70-30 custody, the children are with you in the summer.
It's a suggestion. It's an access. You have access.
If you have access.
But if you don't want to use the access,
if you don't want to use it, you see, and the woman who has the children, most of the time it is the woman that has the children. Most of the time there are exceptional situations, but most of it is the woman that has the children.
But maybe the aspect she's asking is something that has with alimony, like
spousal support. Well,
alimony is not child support.
see, that is spousal support. Alimony is spousal support.
But that one is just one time, right?
It's usually not. It depends on. I mean, like in Canada, I don't know how it works in other places, but in Canada, alimony is alimony that we call spousal support is allocated based on the fact that if this woman does not have an income, but she has the custody of the children, then not having income, they look at different factors. So for myself, like when I was in the marriage, in the relationship, in the marriage, I was working with my ex in the so-called family business, right? I wasn't earning income outside of the home, so I did not have income of my own. So I could have been allocated alimony. I could have been allocated spousal support. I need to make the request, but I chose not to. I chose not to. I just don't want anything from him. Just right? But child support is non-negotiable in Canada. As long as even up, not just 16 years, all the way, if your child 18, 20, as long as they are not earning income on their own, they are going to university, the man is still obligated to take care of that child. So the child support goes all the way, and it is a criminal offense if it is not paid. But for mine, he's not paying. So there are government establishments, like the law enforcement agency that goes after them to say this. The court has allocated this amount of money for you to be paying on a monthly basis as child support. If you are not paying it, they are able to garnish your income. By garnishing your income, they go into they know where you're working, and they go into your account, or they ask your employer, direct this amount into this account. But oftentimes also, these people that we are talking about, I'm talking about unhealthy relationship, unhealthy individuals. Because as a responsible man, whether you are still in love with your spouse, or you are not exes, if you are a responsible man, you have children. Yeah. You don't need to be coerced into taking care of.
You should even be joy doing that.
But many times, these men, they will choose to say no. I cannot be feeding this ex-wife of mine, or if I'm giving child support, that I am still giving to her. So the children suffer. Or let her work hard. We will see how she will make it. It is still out of that resentment, out of I will show you. Fight it to finish, and the children are paying the price. So unfortunately, it is what it is. Like the boy, coming back to that boy, he said, they should sit down. Not in an ideal situation, they should sit down. But in many instances, it does not work like that, because we don't. There's a saying that we don't go to court and come back and we are still friends. It is it's an archaic saying, because you can actually go to court and still be civil about it. So in other cultures, we don't know what is going on. In Nigeria, I know that there is the justice court now, where people can take their cases to, and I've watched it severally. And
I've watched it
exactly, which is very great. But how do we enforce? Enforcement is the thing too, because somebody can go from even if justice court says, in Lagos, you committed this, they can run out of because you don't have database, you cannot be tracking people. Even for me here, that they have, there's the law agency and all of that stuff. For the past many years, they're still not able to get anything from my ex towards child support, because he's probably working under the table, because they can't pin him down They can't pin him down. So enforcement is another level. So oftentimes I will say the solution, whether it is the man that has the full custody of the children or it is the woman that has the full custody of the children, oftentimes the weight lies so much on them to, sometimes it is a lot of sacrifice. Many times it is sacrifice. You might have to be focused on these children and say, you will do whatever you need to do to watch, to see that these children do not suffer indelibly, to suffer unnecessarily because of the choices that I made. Because I tell people, I chose my ex. My children did not choose him.
Yeah, I know that most of the time, oftentimes, the reason why some women stay in the abusive home might be because of this issue that we're discussing. When your income is not enough to take care of you, because for a woman to be in that abusive home, and two things she'll be thinking of. It's not really thinking about the man being that I love him, I still want him. Okay, if I leave this marriage, what will become of my children? How will I be able to sustain outside this home? Even though this man who's not bringing is abusing him, maybe probably is still paying the rent.
Yes.
Still providing food on the table.
Yes.
Because the moment that she knows that I leave this out home, that is the end.
That's right.
That will be the end. So I know that there are some other external factors that she will consider.
Yes.
And on my own,
yes,
when I don't even intend, our separation was not intentional that we want to leave each other. It's just by the virtue of what the government of Canada requested from us. Because he left us, he abandoned us, and then at the time that I supposed to file in my tax, he was not there to file his own. And that made me to now feel a form of separation, of which I believe, because it was not in Canada with us, and the offense of not filing your tax. And when you come in as a family, you cannot individually file your tax. You understand? So I filed my own, but to submit it, I couldn't. Because my husband's tax is being required, and he's not ready to communicate, So that made me to fill in the form. So at the time that he joined us, so within 3 months, they were asked to be, I have signed a separation letter, and he is on family. So we are asked to come back and sign to be a family together, which he doesn't want to do. So he just twisted everything and said, okay, we want to separate. That is why you have signed the paper. Then all efforts to reconcile was aborted. Okay, we separated. Because one person within 3 months, one person have to leave. So at that point, we don't have the opportunity to sit down and say, okay, this is these children, this is how we are going to be. Because we is the processing, we don't even think of separation. And after that, we were not able to come back together. And he doesn't want to have anything to do with the kid and myself. Even though the consultants, they advised me as to how to go, is because I have no income. There's no way I can cope with these 3 kids. But I know we suffered. But I mentioned that because of the culture, they believe that back home, what people always look at is, once you are in abroad, you have the opportunity to claim some money, and you can use your children to claim the money. And I don't want to dent my name. Because of that, I don't even pursue any processing of any government support or anything. But I believe that for those people that they are washing, whether it is in Canada or elsewhere, you have the opportunity to approach government when things like this happen, and at the end you are not able to amicably sit down and discuss about how to raise the kids. So note that we need to speak up. At least approach the government. Let's take it from there. So they have the process to follow. The procedure, you just have to follow it to the end. But at the end, as a woman, as a man, work hard. Work hard because to take care of the kids. That is what I will just say. And because these children, they are depending on us. And we don't want situation that they will be found on the streets and misbehaving. So you need to take care. That is why you need to cut your coat according to your clothes. Have the children that you are capable of raising. If anything, let's say no separation or no divorce. Let's say the man died or the woman died. What happened to that child? So it is our responsibility as parents to look forward for the care of these children, to take care of them. I think that is the way I will.
Absolutely.
And I think both of you have said most of the points. What both of you have agreed on is that the children actually do suffer, and one of the reasons is because the couples are not able to sit down. Because people have resentment, bitterness, because of what had happened, they transfer it to the children, which shouldn't happen. And we have also mentioned examples of cases where things didn't go well, but they tried to make a bad situation not worse by still supporting each other, and some of those children turn out well. Like you said, most times they turn out well, but when they do, how would you feel looking and say, I did not support for this long when I was able to, when I had the strength, the ability and everything to, and it's just not fair for the children, because like we have said before, nobody wanted this to happen, but when they do happen, let's encourage ourselves to stand for our responsibility, support the children, and avoid these things that are avoidable, like the child wanting to join secret club because of just things the parents could provide.